Namaskar. Today we will study model building using ordinary differential equation. We can see here there are two keywords. One is model and another one is an ordinary differential equation. Why we model by using ordinary differential equation? What is modeling? What is ordinary differential equation? There are many questions exist here, but before initiate the lecture, we think about our environment, about our nature. We see the nature. There are many trees. There are species of trees. What is our observation? Every tree is unique. The pattern of leaves of each tree is distinct than other. Example, coconut tree. The pattern of leaves of coconut tree is homogeneous and equilibrium in the pattern of the coconut tree. If we see the banana tree, then again we find a different pattern. Then why these distinctness exist in the nature? If you see the species of animal, human beings, dogs, cats, then we found there are again patterns in the structure or anatomy in the species of animal also. Then the general observation is just we believe this is the biological or natural structure, or by the natural consciousness we try to define another definition, another understanding of this pattern. Now we have a natural question: what is modeling? We know that this observation has various questions, and we are excited to know what are these answers. If we see the banana tree, not by just an observation, but a quantitative observation. For us, there are quantities in leaves, there are quantities in tree. Then definitely a banana tree is a natural phenomena, but it transforms into a rule, into a function. Because if there are quantities, suppose x1, x2, x3 for the leaves, then these are independent variables. But how number of leaves are increasing? Definitely there will be another variables or quantities. We say that this variable is y, but there are two types of variable with the function or rule. First variable is independent variable and another variable is dependent variable. We define these quantities in terms of function, that is y equal to fx, where f is a rule, x is an independent variable and y is the dependent variable. Then how we transform this observation into mathematical term or functional term or formulation. We can simply see that these all observation can be transformed into a formulation for better understanding, better solving, or we can say we transform the natural phenomena into the mathematical problem, and we able to solve this problem by optimization conditions for better options, better understanding. This is the modeling. It means modeling is just a process of transforming the natural structure, natural phenomena into mathematical problem or formulation. We can see this by such examples. There are physical and biological systems, velocity, acceleration, current are lying with physical systems. What is velocity? What is acceleration? What is current? If we observe a biological system, then we know that Malthus' very popular equation, population growth rate of bacteria and population growth rate of human beings. What is genetic? How the dog or next generation of dog, again the same anatomy like previous dog or preceding dogs. How human population always in the form of human, not in another form. There is genetic. Genetic means the homogeneous or uniform pattern of species. What is the law? Because these are natural phenomena or natural law. But we excited to know what is internal rules behind this natural phenomena. Through modeling, we will understand better this natural structure. DNA, we know that the different patterns, sunflower patterns or any tree leaves or species pattern. But like the atom, we know that the configuration of atom constituted by electron, neutron and proton. We never imagine beyond these three fundamental particles. But in every atom, these particles constitute the same prime number 2, 3, 5. Such these prime numbers corresponds with the very simply with the atomic structure, because through atom the compound or element is formed. Similarly, through prime numbers every natural object is defined. Structure of compounds, how compounds formed, cell division, how the decay and growth of cell is defined. It's a natural phenomena, but we can model through the mathematical terminology. Insect population, glucose insulin kinetics, biomolecular switch, because there is molecule, but under biomolecular condition, how the condition is differ than the basic physical switch or circuit. Another keyword which was an ODE, ordinary differential equation. Ordinary differential equation is just a differential equation. But in this differential equation, the number of independent variable is only one. it means the function will be y equal to fx. Only x is here an independent variable. Now, what is the definition of ODE? It means a differential equation with only one independent variable is an ODE. It means an equation consisted the variables x, y and its derivatives dy by dx, d2y by dx square and so on. It means in ODE there are variables and derivatives in the term of function. We can simply see here f xy dy by dx d2y by dx square equal to 0. This is an equation by the rule of involving only one independent variable x. This equation is called an ODE. It means our modeling is based only on this ODE because we can model the nature by various mathematical phenomena. But here we will focus only the modeling on based on only ODE. We can see the example dy by dx plus y equal to x. This is the first order and first degree ordinary differential equation. d2y by dx square plus 2dy by dx plus y equal to 0. This is again an ODE of degree 1 but order 2 because this equation has highest order 2 but previous equation has the order 1. I am talking about the order and degree. We should know about these are the basic tools of study differential equation. Order means if we measure the rate of change with respect to x, then what is rate of change in y with respect to x? It means we derive y as d by dx. This is the first change. It means the first order. In second term, d2y by dx square means again we find the rate of change in dy by dx. It means again d by dx, it means the rate of change with respect to x. Thus, dy by dx is again derived with respect to x. Then we have d2y by dx square. This is the second order. But the highest order has the power. The whole term has the power. Simply we see that the power is 1. Suppose its power more than 1, then it's non-linear. But in both the example we see this is the linear because order is whatever order but the highest order must be 1. Then it refers an ordinary differential equation of degree 1, that is linear. Now we enter into the interesting observation. Suppose there is a particle. We observe this particle at the position x. It means we observe this particle at certain time t. But after some increment in time t, what will be the position of x? Definitely we are observing here the position of x, or in mathematical terminology, what will be the change in position of x with respect to time t, because at particular time the position of x is something, but after t plus 1 or t plus 2 or after certain different time we have the different position of x. What is this actually? Actually this is measuring the rate of change of the position of x with respect to time t. It means d by dt, with x is measured, the rate of change in x with respect to time t. It means d by dt of x or dx by dt. This is nothing but change of the position of x with respect to time t. This is referred by velocity in the physical term. Then dx by dt is velocity. Now this is the general extension or generalization of velocity. We have the velocity, but velocity is defined at time t. But after time t plus 1, t plus 2 or t plus delta t, increased time, there are again two observations: velocity at time t and the velocity at time t plus delta t or increased time. Is there any difference between these positions? Yes, definitely there is difference, and this is the real change in the velocity. Then measuring the change again by d by dt with respect to time t, and we have d2x by dt square. This is an acceleration because d2x by dt square is just a mathematical expression which is measuring the change of rate of change in velocity with respect to time, but it is defined by d2x by dt square. This is acceleration. Here again, this is generalization with current. Instead of x, we substituted by I. I is just an electric charge. Then rate of flow of charge. Definitely there are change, we observe there are changing in I. Then how we measure the change in I with respect to time t? At time t there is charge I, but after t plus delta t or increased time, what is the change in I? Here d by dt of I, we have di by dt. Simply di by dt refers change in I with respect to time t, but in the physical system this is referred as current. Now we have sufficient information about modeling and ordinary differential equation. Now we generalize this observation or illustration into understanding the biological phenomena. Chemotherapy equation. We know that chemotherapy is the process of curing cancer. But how we transform this chemotherapy into equation or into modeling? Here we can see here d by dt n or d by dt of n. As the previous example, we know that what is its real meaning? The change in n with respect to time t. Why the change in n with respect to time n? Because by chemotherapy there are definitely cells are growing, but through drug, by operating drug, definitely the cells are decreasing or the death rate also defined. Definitely cancer for growth rate of cells, and by drug definitely the cells are dying. How this growth rate of cells and death rate of cells is differentiate? In general term, we say that the growth rate of cells minus drug induced death rate of cells, but actually we are measuring the change in n. N is number of tumor cells. The rate of change in n is defined by dn by dt. This is just a derivative, dn by dt, as dx by dt velocity, d2x by dt square acceleration, or di by dt already we have understood. But here d by dt of n or dn by dt is just measuring the rate of change of n, which is number of tumor cells with respect to time t. It's a generalization through drug unit. Definitely there are the drug system, but what is the change in drug for better result? The quantity of drug is also very important. How much quantity of drug we require for effective curing? In general sense or in physiological sense, drug infuse rate minus rate of uptake by cells minus rate of removal by circulation. This is the general curing terminology. But this general curing terminology is transformed into the derivative. We measure the rate of change in drug unit C with respect to time t. Then simply derive C with respect to time t is defined by dc by dt. It means measuring the rate of change in drug unit C with respect to time t. Now, an interesting condition here, because in general we have studied both the phenomena, mathematical and biological. Which is more important? Biological phenomena is more important or mathematics is more important? Definitely biological phenomena is more important, because if you understood really biological phenomena, then for analyzing this phenomena you enter into the domain of mathematics. And what is the appropriate function or method you need, then you apply. This is the real challenge of this modeling. Here we see that an ODE is represented by a function f x y c equal to 0. Here y is the function of x, which is dependent variable, and x is independent variable, and c is an arbitrary constant. What do you mean by modeling? First, we need to transform the system into an ordinary differential equation. How we form an ordinary differential equation? Just we need to eliminate c, because in this lecture we will study how to model by using ordinary differential equation. Simply x y dy by dx equal to 0. Here we eliminate c, then instead of c we put dy by dx, then the resultant equation is defined by fxy dy by dx equal to 0. We compare first and second equation, then we found instead of c there is dy by dx. This is the only objective to transform any equation into a differential equation or an ordinary differential equation. Then the ordinary differential equation is just an equation which involved variables x and y with derivatives dy by dx. This is simply understood by example. We see here any biological system is represented by f x y c equal to 0, but we cannot trace what is this actually, because through the mathematical terminology definitely this is an equation, not an ordinary differential equation but just an ODE, just an equation. We understand this term through example. Maybe this equation is defined by y equal to cx square. Then we know that y is the function of x. Then we have to measure the rate of change in y with respect to x. Then d by dx for y. In place of y, we put cx square. It means the rate of change in cx square with respect to x. In left hand side, we have dy by dx. First order derivative equal to, by the simple formulation, that is d by dx x raised to n. This x raised to n transformed into nxn minus 1. Therefore, x square becomes 2x. Thus, we have dy by dx equal to 2cx. But how we say that, how we confirm this is the real ordinary differential equation? Next, we need to understand why this is defined in the terms of this equation. Dy by dx, instead of c, we put y equal to x square, because y equal to cx square. Then c equal to y upon x square. We substitute the value of c as y by x square, which is y by x square into x. By simplifying, dy by dx equal to 2y by x. Which one is an ODE? Then we have modeled any physical system or biological system into an ordinary differential equation. But an ordinary differential equation is itself a problem. Then we are not going to forming just a problem, but our main objective to get the solution. Then what will be the solution and how solution is defined? Simply, this is the differential equation. xy dy by dx equal to 0 is the problem, or this is an ODE. Then what is the solution? Very simply, we define the whole nature into the real line or real number 1, 2, 3, 0.1, 0.01, 0.001, 0.002, 2.01, 2.02. It's all the numbers are lying in the real line. Then which particular point we have to select as the solution? Then the solution is defined in the real line, and we know that real line is infinite in both the sides. negative side and positive side. But we select the subset of this infinite number line into the finite line any point A and any point B, which x carries. Then the solution is y equal to fx, which must be continuous, differentiable, and differential equation reduces into an identity after its substitution. This is just a solution condition. It means if any differential equation is reduced into an identity, then we confirm this is a solution of an ODE. Very simple, we see here as the example. dy by dx equal to 3y is an ODE, and we know that the derivative term or differential operator d, it becomes a polynomial d minus 3 where d equal to 3. We know that the real and distinct root condition, if there are real and distinct roots, maybe m1, m2, m3, then the solution will be c1 e m1x, c2 e m2x. Here we have only one element, one real roots. Then y equal to ce3x is the solution of the given ODE. C is an arbitrary constant. But here, how we say this is the solution? As earlier we explained, it becomes an identity. Simply we put in place of y the solution ce3x, then we see that as the last line 3ce3x equal to 3ce3x, which is just an identity. It means we have the correct solution. Simply we illustrate with the glucose insulin kinetics. These are the variables or parameter. These are the biological parameter or physiological parameter. We can see here V, I, G, XT, YT, F1X and so on. We see here the insulin equation. If we define insulin equation, then definitely there is the critical terminology and chaotic conditions. But here we define whole insulin equation into the simple term of rate of change in x with respect to time t. And this is an ordinary differential equation which is represented insulin equation. Similarly, the glucose equation. Definitely it is very tough to define the glucose equation. But through ODE, just we have to measure the change in y with respect to time t. And simply the glucose equation is an ODE. There is the bacteria, population, nutrition, inoculation process. What is this? This is the modeling of growth of microorganism. Bacteria, how the population growth of bacteria. We understand by the decision variables because the bacteria, density of bacteria at time t or at initial time t something. Then after time t, what will be the density? What will be the population of bacteria defined by NT, number of bacteria after at time t. We know that there are some conditions over a period of 1 unit time, its daughters divide into and so forth. What it is meaning? It means that there is the growth in the population of bacteria, or there are difference between at time t the population of bacteria and after time t the population of bacteria. How we measure the growth rate of population of bacteria? Simply it is defined by the Taylor series form or approximation form. We know that very simply the reproductive rate of the bacteria by K. which is always greater than 0. Then there is time t, what is the bacteria density, and after time t plus delta t, what is the bacteria density. It means there is a difference, and this difference is defined by n t plus delta t, which is the approximation as nt equal to k nt into delta t, simply the Taylor series, which is just a application of differential equation. Here we have the rate of change in the term of fraction of numerator, which is the difference between two densities of bacteria, that is n t plus delta t minus nt with respect to time delta t, which is defined by knt. Why this ratio consider? Here we know that delta t approaches to 0. Here we clearly understand that we clearly focus on delta t does not equal to 0, but very close to 0, because the increment of time is very less. It means we consider here n is sufficiently large or defined exponentially, but time t just equal to 0 or very close to 0. Then the derivative occurs here with the same representation of the term d by dt, which is measuring the rate of change in density nt, is defined by knt, which is just an ODE. This is defined by Malthus. This is the growth rate of bacteria defined by an ordinary differential equation. d by dt of nt, density change with respect to time t through an ordinary differential equation. Malthus generalized this equation for human population, but here this is the exact solution of that ODE, because ODE is the problem, but what is the actual growth rate of bacteria, then what is n? Very simply the solution is nt. This is the solution, that is the exponential term e raised to kt, which is defined by n0, initial density of bacteria, into e raised to kt. Similarly, Malthus generalized the same theory for human population. The growth rate of human population defined by Malthus with the simple equation nt equal to n0 e raised to minus kt. The interesting thing is here k is defined by minus k, because in human population death is considering. Population decaying is defined. Therefore, exponential term becomes e raised to minus kt. Same as the growth rate of population in bacteria is generalized into growth rate of population of human. Simply we generalize this modeling, this approach of modeling for any equation, any physical or biological system. We can see in this example, this is a reversible equation. It means A becomes B and B becomes A. Then how we transform this reversible equation into an ODE. Now this simple reversible equation is transformed into an ODE by defining the rate of change in A with respect to time t, which is dA by dt, and similarly rate of change in B with respect to time t is dB by dt. This is just an ODE. Hence we see that there are many physical systems, many biological systems, but there are two ways of observation. First, just see naturally, just see whatever you are feeling. But if you have more excitement, more curiosity, then definitely we excited to know about what is the hidden rule, how nature works, how the patterns are there, and all the answers will find through the modeling, through the mathematics, through the function, and through the application of calculus, which is an ODE. Thank you.